All right, hey guys, welcome in. Got a very exciting video, very exciting lesson today. Super excited for this one because, as you know, I love using Google Sheets. Love teaching scholars how to use Google Sheets, and this is a good lesson for it. So here we go. Let's dive in. So the task here is to find the 40th term of the Fibonacci sequence. And, as we all know, in order to find the next term of the Fibonacci sequence, we add the previous two up. So let's see here. Let's maybe zoom in just a little bit more so we can really see things. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's good. So if we add up the 1 and the 1, we get 2, right? If we add up the 1 and the 2, we get 3. If we add up the 3 and the 5, we get 8. So let's see, calculating this next one, we would need to add the previous two sequence values, which would mean 8 plus 13. So that, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be 21. 21 plus 13, that is going to give me 34, if I'm not mistaken. And eventually, right, like, okay, this one's going to be 55. But it starts getting kind of tedious, right? And the numbers start getting big to where I can't do it in my head anymore. I don't really want to have to deal with it. So I'm going to take advantage of a feature. I'm going to take advantage of the copy and paste feature to just let Google Sheets do all that work for me. So how do you do that? Well, I don't want to exactly show you what to do because that'll kind of give away the problem, but instead I'm going to show you a couple of tools that you might be able to use. So first of all, we're looking at Google Sheets here, and you can see that one cell gets highlighted as time, right? And when I type in, that's where it pops up, right? So this one, for example, is E2, and you can see that the E is darkened and the 2 is darkened, right? And you can navigate by clicking. You can navigate using the arrow keys, and you can also highlight multiple cells at once by clicking and dragging. So test that out. You can see now D, E, and F are all highlighted, as well as rows 3 through 12. So check out that. If you're into keyboard shortcuts, you can try doing like Command Control and Command Control or Control in the arrow keys. Okay, that's not what I wanted. Try Shift. Okay, try Shift in the arrow keys, and you can highlight large swaths. And if you do Command and you in the arrow key, you can jump around to like sort of the end of the row, right? Like if I do Control or Command down, it goes all the way down. Control or Command up, it goes all the way up. So, anyways, spend a minute, kind of become a power user. You know, get used to some of these controls that are super useful. And then we're going to write a formula. Now, I know we've done this in class before, so hopefully it's not altogether unfamiliar. But let's just remind ourselves how we use formulas, right? So first things first, we're going to start with the equal sign because that signals to Google Sheets that, all right, we're not storing a value anymore. Now we're computing a value. So we're going to start with the equal sign, and then we're just going to tell the computer what to add. So for instance, if I want to add the term number plus the sequence value, I would click on the term number, and then I'm going to click plus, and I'm going to click on the sequence value and hit enter. You can see it offers me this option to autofill, which maybe I would do that, or maybe I wouldn't. For now, I won't do it, right? And let's look at it. And you can see that if I click on cell C3 right here, again, that's highlighted. The formula that's generating this 3 is A3, right, plus B3, adding those two together, right? You can see that happening right here. Here's the formula. There, it conveniently highlights it for us. And now if I wanted to do this, I would copy it. So I could go to Edit, Copy, or you could see the keyboard shortcut there, Control C, Command C, and then you can paste it by clicking and dragging and pasting. So try that out, and then you're going to have to kind of think about it and work with it and see if you could figure out how to code in the Fibonacci sequence, right? So what am I going to type here that's going to allow me to add up those previous two terms and then copy and paste all the way down to term number 40. So try that out, see if you can figure it out. Okay, and so feel free to pause the video here. We're going to go on And we're going to look at a couple more things here before we end this video. And let's see. I'm going to actually delete this, and we're going to rebuild it here. I should have used my keyboard shortcuts. All right, so I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to delete this, and we're going to rebuild it. And I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing and why. Okay, so we're going to use an explicit formula now to build a sequence, right? So I'm going to start a sequence here, and you guys can kind of make up any sequence you want, or you can look through some old worksheets or notes or whatever and find a sequence that you want to automate, and and we'll try it out here. So I think I was using -5 for my first term, and then 0, and then 5, 10, 15, 20, and again, this is easy to build, but at a certain point, typing the numbers in just gets tiresome. So here we go, the explicit formula for this sequence, right? Let's see if we can write this explicit formula. So we notice that the common difference, right, each time it's increasing by 5. So we're going to type in our explicit formula here, 5n. So it increases, the common difference is 5, or in other words, you multiply the term number by 5, but then we actually have to add or subtract our 0th term, right? And the first term is -5, which means if we rewind it back, right, take it back to the 0th term, we need to subtract 10. Oops, there we go, 10. So there we go. So that's how we can build and code this. So let's try it out. So now for our 7th term, we should get a sequence value of 25, right? That makes sense with the pattern. So here we go. We're going to type in equals, right? And we're going to say 5 times, right? So I'm just taking this part right here of the sequence, and I'm just typing it in right here, because remember the TN, that stands for my sequence value. And we're coding that in. So we're coding in the 5n minus 10. So I'm going to click 5 times, and then the n, of course, stands for the term number. So I'm going to click on the term number, and then I'm going to say minus 10. And it did work, and it's even allowing me to autofill. Again, I'm going to show the copying and pasting one more time right here. Okay. There we go. So you can see it's increasing by 5 every time, and now it's super easy and convenient to go ahead and like say, oh, you want the 89th term? Well, it's 435, right? Oh, we want the 26th term? It's 120. It's right there for us. Now the Google Sheets formula, you're just going to type in one formula, right? So here we go. I'm going to click this one just sort of randomly. You can put in any one you want. And I'm going to notice here that this is cell B13. So I'm going to type in right here B13 equals, and then again I'm going to look at it, and the formula is 5 times A13 minus 10. 5 times A13 minus 10. Okay. So there we go. So now we've got the formula, right? So this just tells us what the formula is. This is the explicit formula right here. And then this is how we coded that formula using Google Sheets. All right, so not so bad. Now let's go over here to the recursive formula, right? And the recursive formula, again, remember that tells us what the sequence value is based on a previous term, right? So we can decode this a little bit, right? So t of n plus 1, right? So n plus 1, remember tn, that sort of stands for our, like, that's our sequence value, right? And let's see, how do I explain this? So tn, that's our sequence value, right? So that's our current sequence value. So this is basically saying the next sequence value, tn plus 1, so to compute, like go one more down the chain, you would do this. You would take the current value and add 5. Again, this is the exact same sequence, right? You can see it's the exact same sequence. And this time, right, well, and you can see that obviously, right, if I'm at sequence 5, right, then I would go to back to 4 and add 5 to it, right? And if I'm at 5 and I want to know what 6 is, well, n plus 1, so n is 5 right now, and then n plus 1 would be 6, and then here we go, we add 5. So maybe that was a little bit confusing. I don't know if I explained that well or not. But you can see this time I'm actually going to build the sheet, the formula a little bit differently, right? I'm going to use the recursive formula instead of the explicit formula. So here we go. I'm going to say equals, and I'm going to click on the one above it, plus 5, right? So I'm just building it, and this time I will use the autofill. And so you can see it's the exact same sequence, but the formula is rather different, right? So you can see here that I use a different formula, right? I go to the one above it and I add 5. And then that formula is basically using the recursive formula as compared to the explicit formula. All right, one more and then we're done here. So I was testing it out, messing with some formulas. This one, like you can see, it's possible to make sequences where you're like squaring it each time. And it gets insanely big, insanely fast, and Google Sheets can't work with it. It's bigger. I mean, I don't even know. That's way beyond the quadrillions. I can't even fathom how big that would be. But anyways, okay, let's do a different one. Let's do this. Okay, so let's see. Let's take one of our quiz problems. Let's say we had a colony of ants that was invading a house. And we started with 200 ants, and they multiplied by 1.4 every time as I grabbed the paper. So that meant that there was 280 ants, and then there was 392. And you guys, so many people painstakingly use the calculator to compute 30 terms of this sequence, and I celebrate you for that. I'm going to show you an easier way to do it. So here we go. Our recursive formula Tn plus 1 equals Tn times 1.4, right? So the colony of ants, and this is what we did on the calculator, right? You take that number, you multiply by 1.4, that's your next number. Then you take that number, you multiply it by 1.4, and so on and so on. So, right, so like this one equals, let's just try it, equals 392 times 1.4, right? So I'm multiplying times 1.4. And there we go. And then even if I wanted to do this one, if I wanted to check, equals 200 times 1.4. All right. Now we're going to turn this into a recursive formula by saying equals, and then we'll click on this one, and then we'll just multiply it times 1.4. And there we go. Now we can just copy and paste a bunch of these. And you can see right here is a list of the term number and the sequence value. And then the Google Sheets formula, this is not the formula, but you guys probably are seeing now, right? You just go there, oh, G12 equals G11 times 1.4. You can probably figure that out. So I'll let you type that in. And, okay, I'll do it. G6 times 1.4, and let's make sure, let's go to G7 equals G6 times 1.4. So we did it right. So, okay, there you go. There's a video that's going to show you how to do this. And good luck. Have fun. And see you soon.